heart-led visionary leaders create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level. All right, Visionary CEOs, welcome back to another summit. It's time to host another beautiful summit here for you today, where I have lined up amazing experts, just as I love to do. And we're going to help you to really level up to the next level in your personal life and business. And today's theme for our summit is, what is the mission behind your work? Being a mission-driven CEO, someone that is purpose-driven, that through the purpose and the vocation that you have chosen to really build that vision, mission, and values in your company to do more good in the world, is really the community that we have built together over the years. So I'm so excited to be back with you. As you know, I'm the CEO and founder of the Life School, and we help visionary leaders grow legacy purpose-driven businesses through inner alignment, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team, so they can maximize the impact and income, and again, because of the main purpose, to do more good in the world with whatever is their chosen vocation or business model. Our vision here at the Life School community is to empower CEOs to realize their life's purpose through legacy entrepreneurship. Our mission is to become the most influential global community in purposeful entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship and impacting the world to become a better place. And some of our values are community, connection, service, growth, freedom, and contribution. So without further hold, I will absolutely be very honored to bring onto the stage, onto our virtual stage here today, all our amazing speakers that are joining our panel today. And again, they will share with you inspiration, education, and so much wisdom, I should say. I always feel so humble through just creating these speaking events and through our podcast to be able to learn from people that have so much wisdom, so much experience, and are experts in the work that they do, and they're actually thought leaders. So I will start with my first amazing speaker, actually, Dr. Cheryl Foley. And Cheryl is one of our new, I would say, people in our community. So I also can't wait to get to know her. So Dr. Cheryl, thank you so much for finding time and coming on as one of our guest panel speakers today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And I usually always start my conversations with the thing that we always want to know so that we can get to know one another better, which is, can you share a few of the most meaningful moments that led you to the journey and the work that you're doing today?
Okay, thanks for that question. So basically, to start off with, I guess it might be important to know what I do, and then I'll give you a little bit of a background. So I have a doctorate in healthcare administration. So basically, I like to describe that as a doctor for your health administration needs or the business of healthcare. So personally, I'm all about looking at the healthcare system or any area in my life, looking for where there are gaps. And where I see gaps, I like to be proactive either in trying to bridge those gaps, eliminate them myself, or find a group of people who are champions of the same cause. Okay. So my current business that I've been growing is still kind of in its infancy is Shalom Eagles Wings. Okay. So think of it as threefold: consultation, advocacy, and empowerment. And under the umbrella of consultation is basically I help either executives, business owners in any area of strategic management, quality improvement, risk management, the list goes on. Now, under advocacy, coming back to how I love to bridge gaps, one of two initiatives I started and one I'm currently active in is basically trying to provide a retreat for healthcare providers. I mean, if all of you were to think about it, healthcare providers have been pouring all of their beings into people. But my question is, who stops to take care of them? And when I say take care of them, I mean holistically. So their physical, mental, social, cultural, spiritual domains, because I think that's what comprises the human being. So along those lines, I started a business venture, which is called Renata Wellness and Recreation Retreat. Think of it as a place of rejuvenation for healthcare providers. And when I use the word healthcare providers, I'm not saying healthcare professionals because the two terminologies mean something totally different. But I don't want it to be so stringent that people who can benefit from the services will be shut out. And when I say this retreat, what that comprises, think of it as light workshops on conflict resolution, on organization development. There's going to be group counseling because the retreats is also catered to people who experience burnout or maybe bullying and harassment. So obviously there are some traumatic issues they need to deal with. So there'll be group counseling, and of course there's accommodation and recreation, lots of recreation. So I want it to be lighthearted. Okay. So the original model for that is a 3-day workshop. I'm sorry, a 3-day overnight retreat, but I'm hoping, I'm praying for the inaugural launch, which was actually postponed from March of this year, and it's going to be September 23rd. So I've talked about consultation, advocacy, and now empowerment. So I believe, and I'm sure all of you believe, that it's very crucial that we empower people. And for me, empowerment means there comes a point in time when you hold people's hand and then you empower them, equip them with the tools and skills to be able to let go of that hand so they can be positive change agents wherever they are. So one of the ways I empower people, and I'm honored to do that globally, is through a platform by the name of Win Win Women. And I have a show, and it's called The Dancing Negotiator, which is a play on words because conflict resolution is like a dance, right? And negotiation is one of the strategies of conflict resolution. And I'm also a conflict resolution coach. And when I went and did my doctorate in healthcare administration, I focused on conflicts, like mitigated, exploring the phenomenon of negative conflict in home care management in Alberta. So I guess I should clarify, I'm a Canadian and I'm based in Calgary, Alberta. So again, I noticed that conflict wasn't really dealt appropriately throughout my career. And what I mean by that, when I think of conflict, think of a coin, okay? A coin has a head and a tail, right? So when I think of conflict, it could either be constructive or destructive. Constructive is something that builds up. And when I say it builds up, so not just from an interpersonal perspective, think of it from work-related task process systems, right? I look at conflict resolution, effective conflict resolution, as the glue that ties in the effectiveness of all operations, regardless of what setting of the industry you work in, right? So yeah, so those are some of the things I do. I'm all about bridging gaps in healthcare from a clinical lens, if you will. I actually two passions in life when it comes to the healthcare industry. Number one is having healthy workplaces, hence the whole conflict resolution, being sure that employees not only are empowered with education, but equipped with skills for them to be positive change agents across all the hierarchy of an organization. I believe in a hybrid kind of leadership style. What I mean by that, it's not just top bottom, but bottom top as well. You need to hear from all stakeholders, okay? And I believe those in boards, at the board levels, they too should be held accountable because you should model what you want your employees to exemplify, okay? So I don't know what
Yeah.
else would you hear.
I mean, you do so many things, but I am sure that I get that feedback all the time myself. It's like you do so many things, but to me, it just seems so organic and natural, right? So it's a build-up of a beautiful journey, and I could absolutely see the passion for that you have for healthcare. And I love that you talked about, the self-care aspect of people in the field, right? Because they're in service to others, and
Yes.
because of that's the nature of their work, it's so hard for them to take a look at their own needs and prioritize themselves first. So I love all the things that you have built. And thank you so much for sharing everything that you have done so far. And I will come back to you at the end as well. with your final thoughts around some of the things that we will be discussing today. So thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Cheryl, and a pleasure to again have you here.
Thank you.
All right, so we're on to our next beautiful speaker, Mindy Duff. And Mindy, again, if you could share a little bit around your journey, and also I would be very interested to know if you could share some of the most fundamental pieces around the framework of how you help your clients with your work that you can also share with our audience today, because I'm a big believer of fundamentals and principles, and through our experience we do see patterns and things that repeat, and I think that is a great thing to share with most people as the education piece of our work, because then it just applies to more people that might be listening here today. So welcome, and thanks so much for being here as well, Mindy. Oh, by the way, I have muted all the speakers, so please unmute yourself. Let me see if that I needed to do that. Mindy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes.
Beautiful. Good. Well, my name is Mindy Duff. And yeah, I guess to share what got me here is my whole entire life. So I'll spare you the details. Don't worry. I'm not going to go into 43 years of my whole history. But what I like to speak on the most right now is living authentically. And what got me here literally has been my whole entire life. I think if I look back on my life, anytime I see something where I've made a quote unquote mistake, I don't think there really are mistakes. Of course, everything's a learning opportunity. But when I look back at the things when I go, maybe I could have made a different choice in that situation, it always boiled down to me not being authentic to my true self. And that has to do with my personal life as well as my business life. Because as an entrepreneur, it's really hard, I think, sometimes, and maybe some of you can relate to this, but I'm a reformed people pleaser. Okay. And when you own your own business as an entrepreneur, it's hard because you need to some degree be a people pleaser or you won't have a business, right? If people don't like what you're doing, they're not going to buy your products. They're not going to come to your services. So at some degree, you need to be making sure your clients and customers are happy. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you are being happy and that you are being fulfilled and that you're not kind of putting yourself aside for all the needs of others. So that's why I've really been drawn to this topic on living authentically. And that's kind of where I've been headed with all of it. I will give you a short little bit of history that maybe some of you can relate to as relates to business. There were times in my own business where I was so disconnected from everything from my own sense of self and in all areas that I was looking externally. And maybe some of you have done this before. I was hiring all the business coaches. I wanted someone to basically fix my business, tell me what to do so that I can just make money and be happy. And I don't want to say that I wasted some money, but it's one of those things where in hindsight, if I look back, maybe I could have made some different choices there. And it's not to say that those programs weren't great and that other people got a lot of value out of them, but it was my own motivation for taking those courses and hiring those business was because I wanted someone else to fix me rather than listening to my own intuition and trusting my own intuition to learn how to work for me. Maybe this is what works for Bill or Susan, but that's probably work for me. So what does work for me? So I focus a lot on intuition, and I love teaching people some simple steps on how to strengthen that muscle. You know, sometimes the word intuition has kind of a woo-woo, airy-fairy vibe to it, but other people just call it your gut instinct, and we're all born with it. And doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. If you are the top executive in some, multi-million-dollar company and you are making business deals every week, you're going to want to trust your intuition on that. If you are a solopreneur, you are the only one in your own business, you're just getting started, you're just as much going to want to be able to trust your own intuition on what the right choices are for you there as well. So it affects your business life, It affects your personal life. There is not an aspect of your life that your intuition doesn't touch. So, having said that, I would just, I guess, encourage all of you to work on strengthening your intuition. And, I'll just real quick give you a quick strategy. And of course, there's lots more to do on this, hence what I do. But if you're curious right now, you can even take a second and ask yourself internally a question that the answer is no to. Like for me, that would be like, do I like anchovies? Nope, I don't. And just pay attention to how that feels in your body. And that's what a no feels like for you. Okay. So that's something you can play with. On the flip side, what's something that is a yes for you? So for me, would I love it if somebody right now called me up and said, I want a free trip to Bali? Yes, I would love that. What does that feel like for you? Does it feel kind of light and tingly or expansive? So kind of play around a little bit just with your own internal yes and no's. It's different for everyone, but that's a great strategy just for you to start practicing. And once you get kind of where you can trust that a little more, then you can start bringing that into your business and everywhere else in your life as well. So intuition, super, super powerful stuff. It's what I'm here for. It helps you live authentically. And I think everybody should just do it.
Mm. Mindy, I love what you shared. My two favorite topics in the word authenticity and intuition. And I want to piggyback off something you said about making investment decisions in our business due to the wrong reason, right? Because I hear this often. And every time I also have to do the same thing and dig deeper into the reasons why we want to make certain decisions or take certain decisions in our life and business. And again, if we are doing it for the wrong reason, it's not that we want to blame, the program, the person, whatever financial decision or other decision we're making, is that we have to go within and actually question ourselves, what is our why, and ensure that it actually comes from that authenticity rather than maybe, a lack of something that we might be feeling that we want to kind of fill it with an outside factor. So I love the work that you're doing. I always say that the more people really understand how to tap into their intuition, the more aligned they will be with their path, and they'll be very happy with their decisions because it's an organic, authentic decision that speaks to them. What is your feedback on how do we tap into? I love this exercise. I wrote it down. But what are some of the other things that we can do to sharpen this very important natural gifted skill that we all have inside of us, such as intuition, because that is very, very powerful in business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a million different things that you can try. Another one that I like to recommend is something that when we have our business hats on, we don't like to hear this answer, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And that is really getting in touch with your inner self. Okay, that sounds super crazy and like woo-woo, but I mean it. I was challenged once to make a list of 111 things that brought me joy. And I thought, okay. And I sat down and I got stuck at number 12. Were there more things? Of course there were. There's so many things that bring me joy. This could be little tiny things like going for a walk or big giant things like that trip to Bali. But I got stuck at 12 because I was so disconnected from my own self. So you can work on strengthening your intuition, and you can do that exercise I mentioned earlier. But until you're really solid in your own self and you know what you want, and that is going to touch every area of your life, whether it's just in your relationships or in your business. What do you really want? Why are you doing this? Why is this your life's work? Really dig down deep. You're not going to be able to make those right decisions because you're going to be kind of floating up here on the surface when really the heart of it all comes down to the center. So really having a deep understanding of yourself and knowing what you want, that's going to ebb and flow and change, but that's really key, I think, into making these decisions because you're going to make them from that authentic place.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that answer. It is a process, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And the more we open up to it, the more we can just learn that, it's the most amazing superpower that we all own as humans. So I love the work you do. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mindy. And I will definitely come back to you at the end. And would love to introduce my next guest speaker now, which is Dr. Richard Kaye or Kay. I hope I didn't butcher your last name, Richard.
Not
Thank you
too
so
much.
much
It's
for coming
K, like the
on
letter of the alphabet.
today. Okay, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. And the same question for you, if you could share a little bit around your background and your journey.
Well, as a background, I grew up. First lifetime, lifetime was electronics engineer. Then I got a BS degree in business management. Then I got my doctorate in chiropractic, drove from New York to San Diego to set up a chiropractic practice. And that's when I really learned about listening to the inside and publicity, which is what I do now, get people massive publicity. I got to San Diego, discovered I'm one of 300 chiropractors practicing. How the hell do you begin a practice or any business when you're one of 300 or more people? So Reader's Digest version is I got on a morning television talk show for about a year, got major articles in the San Diego Tribune, Los Angeles Times, got a phone call from the producer of the 6:30 News. And this is what publicity does. She said, we're hearing a lot about you. Can we come in and do a special on you? So now I'm on the 6:30 News. Same kind of phone call from a producer at PBS. Who are you? So now I have a PBS special about me. And this goes to the next step. I shut my practice shortly after that. Mindy was talking about listening to that inner voice. Meditating one day, and I hear, change your office hours Monday, Thursday, 11 to 1. Oh, shoot, there's nobody there. It's just me. Listening to that inner voice. And ladies and gentlemen, when that shows up for you, you have a choice. You can say, yeah, right. Or you can listen. And this is amplifying perhaps what Mindy said. How do you listen? So I changed my office hours. Next meditation, I hear retire from chiropractic and work with entrepreneurs. And I had been at this 30 years. So I asked, was last week a test? And they said yes. So 3 weeks later, I shut down 30 years, got in my car, I live in Taos, New Mexico. I already owned 80 acres out here, came out. So I retired about 20 years ago. I've been working with entrepreneurs ever since. And it's about listening to that inner guidance, listening to your inner voice. It's more profound and more accurate than anyone else out there whom you may choose to listen to. So be aware of it. And you asked, how do you tune into it? Just shut up. Go out in nature, whatever it is that it takes for you to stop all the crap. Get off Instagram, get off Facebook. Go and be by yourself and ask questions. Ask questions of your higher self. Doesn't matter what your spouse, your lover, your best friend says. That's their opinion. We don't see the world through our perspective. Our perspective is developed when we were very young. The metaphor I use is no one is born prejudiced. Where do you get it from? Where do people get it from? You get it from those around you. Your parents, your teachers, your priests, your rabbis, the cop, the people you don't remember, probably didn't like then. They imposed their feelings on you, so you took it on as yours, and now you think it's yours. If you really go deeply inside and experience and feel, everybody's equal, everyone's the same. So to bring this down, get in touch with your own voice. It'll never lie. Put that in a positive. It'll always tell you the truth. You may not like what it says, but it's always going to be true. All you have to do is learn to listen. And when we do that and get massive publicity for people, get them on television, get them on networks, get them in magazines, it's listening. When you know the message is right, you can get it out there. Thanks for the opportunity to play here.
Dr. Richard, I love that. Look at the synchronicity that has happened with Mindy and you. And it's just a beautiful progression to our conversation. But yeah, I mean, like you said, just shut up, right? It's simple, but just tune away all the noise and the distractions. Honestly, the best, most important decisions I made in my life, starting with pivoting from corporate to being an entrepreneur, is because of that voice that I ignored for so many years. Mm-hmm. Just again thinking that it's wrong. We don't learn how to tune into that and how to trust that, right? We're pushing it away, and then life gives us other things that happen to us so that we can really start to listen to that. So thank you so much for sharing that beautiful, beautiful work that you also do out there in the world. And as far as publicity, I'm sure there's always interest around visibility and building our brand and putting our name out there and growing, the business that we want or the companies that we really feel inclined to really serve the world with. What are some tips that you can share besides obviously the tuning in of our inner intuition that you also use with your clients?
Ladies and gentlemen, don't take this personally. Nobody cares what you do. No one cares what you do. When you want to get on, I'll tell you how I got ultimately on PBS, which is pretty freaking cool, is I never talked about what I did. When you pitch somebody, and if you want to know more, Elona, when it's time, I'll give people how they can get in touch with me. It's a simple website, talkaboutpublicity.com, and we can explore a deep conversation. If you want to get on radio and television and newspapers, when you send out information, don't talk about what you do. Talk about what the audience is going to get out of it. I'll be very honest. When I pitch radio and television and magazines, whatever it is, my message is your audience is going to whatever it is. Give them, again, nobody cares what you do. People have websites. I do this, I do this, I do this. Nobody cares. Take a look at what interests you. If someone's website says, I'm really good at this, do you care? You want to know one thing. You want to know what's in it for me. Is that selfish? No, it's called life. What am I going to get out of it? I was in a conversation with a friend yesterday, and she's trying to figure out how to make her boyfriend happy. I said, it's not your job. What makes you happy? And if he doesn't resonate with that, it's next.
I got my props showing up. Love that. Yes.
So when you pitch, and if you reach out to me, I'll go deep dive how you can pitch. Tell them what the audience is going to get, how their audience is going to grow, what they're going to gain. And your job is not to make yourself look good. I'll tell you, when I got on a morning television talk show, and I didn't even know I knew this consciously, I was the unconscious competent back then. My goal, I made the host look stellar. I made the men and women, I made them look brilliant. When we cut to commercial, we were done. Jerry says, get this guy back here. That's what you want to do. That's the most important thing about getting on any program. And Elona, I don't want to usurp the time here. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more, talkaboutpublicity.com. I'll be glad to mentor you on how to get to that next step and how to get out and get you in the world, because you build publicity, which adds to your credibility. And that's when you become the best there is. Doesn't mean you're the best. It's the public perception. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that is so important. Well, thank you so much, Richard, for that. And you will have a chance to follow the conversation, continue the conversations. Usually what I say, we're just starting here, right? With all the amazing speakers here today. But yeah, be of service, be of service. It is so simple, but not easy. All right. Most of the simple things are not easy. Sometimes we overcomplicate them. Thank you so much for that. So honored to bring on my next guest speaker, Christine Blanchette. Christine, I also hope I didn't butcher your last name. I have a talent for that. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. And looking forward again to know you a little bit better as well and the work that you do.
There we go. Thank you for having me. I'm really enjoying these talks, these presentations. And I'm a runner, so what I'm going to talk about today is share my tips on how staying active can bring success in your business or being more productive. As an entrepreneur, I host 2 TV shows, plus I'm a writer, plus I'm a running coach. And what else do I do? I do several other projects, but mainly I have 2 TV shows which I host and produce. And I like to, sometimes when it's hard to fit in your exercise, which I'm a runner, as I said, it can be a challenge. However, with many deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities and commitments, I try to always put it in my agenda. I always write it down. I think about it, visualize it every day. I write it down, as I said, and keep it like everything else I do every single day. That makes me accountable. It makes me psychologically ready to go. I put my running gear out the night before or in the morning. There's 24 hours a day, as my coach would say, said to me, and I try to make it work. There are days that I cannot fit a half hour or an hour run walk. When I do something. So it helps me and I have something to write down and it makes me work more productive because there's another day. So that's what I try to do. So I can be walking up the stairs, be walking around the block. There was one day that I thought, oh my goodness, I don't have time. And there's been many days, but it's just as an example from last week. I don't have time. So I'll do 5. I'll walk around the block 5 times. I was not feeling that well, so I did something. So yeah, the key is to find something that you really love. And it can be gardening, mine is running. And it all started on my TV show, just to go back, called Run With It. And I had some epiphany because I got laid off and I thought, what am I gonna do? I know I'm gonna create a TV show. But I had help and I thought, creating a show that's something I feel really passionate about and inspiring others on my journey, that it took 2 years to get on the table, but that was the process. But when I look back, I thought it was great because it taught me to be patient and to keep running. And I got into teaching running and etc. So as I was saying, find something that you really love doing and you'll stick with it. However, you can try something that you never tried and maybe you'll like it. I never used to like to walk. I used to run, like energy bunny, if you will. But then I incorporate walking and then walking, running, power walking. And I think that's important to do some cross training. And mine is, as I said, walking. Sometimes it's getting to dancing. It's an activity, gardening, whatever. But if you choose something you like, you'll stick with it. As I said, the key is writing it down. Setting goals, set short-term goals, long-term goals, like as we do in our work. So I'll say I'm going to do a 5, and then go to a 10. But the most important thing too, like I find running, is like a roller coaster. It has ups and downs. So if I've been running like maybe 6 weeks or something like that, or 6 months, I consult a doctor and see, have a nutritionist, because the most important thing too is you're running or starting an exercise program. You want to be talking to people. I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not a doctor, but I'm an experienced runner and I do test drives. So before I go for a workout or a race, I will have, so I'll eat that. But if I wasn't sure about yogurt, I would test drive, because you don't want to be running or in a race and you don't feel well. So these are the things that I learned along the way. And being safe out there too, I think is another important thing that I try to hit on in my running clinics and myself. I try to carry ID with me, and just in case something happens, I leave, you know, where I'm going to go. I also like to detach myself. I like to just be close to nature, let myself just in a meditative state, if you will. But sometimes, because I can write the best lead for a story, I can not look at my phone. Now I'm guilty of that. I'll bring my phone and be like, oh, I have to look at it. It's going on. No, this is my time. I call it my appointment with myself. That's my appointment. No one can, come close to me. I just want that time, because guess what? I'm more productive. When I get back at my desk, and I'm saying, if you don't like to run, it's okay. It could be anything that you like to do. The whole thing is that it's brought me success. When I don't run, like for a few days or whatever, I feel really not myself. And it just keeps me going and how to do. I'm better with treating other people in my work, and I practice what I preach. I'm going to have a running clinic, learn to run clinic. I have to keep up with the runners, otherwise I'm not going to be able to do it. But with that, if you have a Fitbit, that's a good thing to log your miles. And I did mention probably fueling your body, but also hydration is a really important really important, and bring electrolytes, whatever. But again, do that test drive before you go out. I'm not a hot weather runner. I know that through experience. And I had heat stroke. I learned the hard way. So what I do, I run early in the morning, tell where I'm going. Sometimes I'll bring my Fitbit, whatever. I do my hour run or power walk, and then I come back and then I feel refreshed. Another thing too is that you want to write it in your calendar, your Google calendars, which I do. And also too is what helps me is finding running with someone that you know that you want to, because when I do the clinic, there's other runners running with each other. So I try to encourage that. If you don't know where to start, if you're traveling, what do you do? What I do is I scout out where is there running, where can I go? And if I feel it's not safe or if it's too hot, like I said, I'll do. I love it. I'll go for 30 minutes, and listen to your body. That is so important. As time will go, be able to, do listen to your body more, in other words. But I've gone through heat stroke or heat exhaustion. I've been at races where I didn't tie my shoelaces, or even on a workout. All these things you learn. But psychologically, I find when I'm prepared, I do so much better in my work. And I need to run because I love it so much. When I say me, it's part of me, of who I am. And I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't have my show, because it all started with my passion for running, which is my other show, which is music entertainment. I love music. And I don't always listen to music because I want to hear the sounds, being in nature. And also, I wanted to leave you with this. I'm not going over. Invest in a pair of proper shoes, walking shoes, running shoes. If you're a tennis player, you don't be working out with tennis shoes or court shoes. Proper socks and big fan of wearing. If you're gonna have good shoes, you want great socks. Dress for the weather conditions, and most importantly, wear a hat. I wear a hat all year round. But most importantly is have fun out there. Enjoy the journey, because I didn't think I would be a runner. It was all because my brother said, "Oh, we'll run for points," and that's a long story, but that's how it all began. And thank you. That's what I have in my toolkit. So,
I love that. I can see your passion for running, Christine. I always say that the discipline that we receive through any physical exercise, and also the ideas, the clarity that you receive, just because your body emotions, working with your emotions, right? It just gives you those aha moments that you can absolutely utilize in your life and business, and higher access to intuition, just like we talked about that today. So those benefits are immense. And I don't know any successful CEOs that are doing impactful things in the world that don't prioritize their health, right? Because our health is our wealth. And unless we prioritize that, then, how can we operate and do all the things that we want to do? So thank you so much for that. And I would love to hear a little bit more around the shows that you have so we can go check those out at the end. But I appreciate everything that you share with us today. Thanks again. All right, I would love to bring on my next speaker, Jayana Francis. Jayana, thanks so much for coming on. And the same question for you. If you could share a few of the most meaningful moments that led you to the work that you're doing today.
Hello, Elona, and then everyone else. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really grateful. So the best way I can talk about my mission behind the work that I do is simply teaching. So I am a holistic health coach for women specifically, and I'm very passionate about helping more entrepreneurs increase their wealth through health. So one of the things Dr. Cheryl mentioned earlier that I really appreciated was the idea of holistic health. A lot of times we think health just comes down to nutrition and exercise, which don't get me wrong, as Christine mentioned, movement and moving is incredibly important. However, there's also three aspects of holistic health that your personal trainer or your nutrition coach might not be talking to you about, and that is your mindset. So, what are you thinking and saying to yourself? What are you saying about your body and your health journey when no one's around? It's also self care. How are you taking care of yourself outside of your family and your work? And then last but not least is sleep. Are you getting good quality sleep so that you can have the energy that you want, so that you can have the mental focus and clarity that you want? So, my goal today is to give you 3 simple strategies that you can implement to not just 10x your income over the next 6 months of the year, but also start to see the progress on your health journey that you want, whether that's weight loss, feeling good every single day, more energy, feeling comfortable in your body. Okay, so the first tip is going to be have a priorities list, not a to do list. Oftentimes, there's only 20% of customers' activities that drive 80% of our revenue. Same thing with your health journey. There's going to be 20% of things that you can do every single day that will drive the biggest results in your health journey, cough, nutrition. And so instead of trying to have a to do list that has a million and one things, and don't get me wrong, I love a to do list. I literally use one every day. However, my to do list does not run my life anymore. My priorities list does. So out of the 10, 20 things that I would like to get done in a day, I identified the 3 that would move my business and health journey along the most. If I got these 3 things done, I would not just feel so accomplished, but I would literally see the results in my bank account, the way I feel, the way my body is transforming, etc. The next thing that I want to talk about is your goals versus your standards. A lot of the times it's so easy for us, especially on our health and fitness journey, to have all or nothing mindset. Either I'm doing the nutrition and going to the gym and going to bed at a certain time, or I'm not going to do anything. So instead, let's adopt a goals versus a standards mentality. This means it is okay for you to say, when you're starting out on your health journey, I want to go to the gym 5 times. But we need a wiggle room for if you don't make that happen. So your goal is, I want to go to the gym 5 times. Your standard is, no matter what happens this week, I don't care how busy I get, I am going to hit the gym 2 times. Doesn't it feel so much better at the end of the week to feel so proud that you got to the gym 2 times and met your standard than putting so much weight until in whether you hit your goal number or not? So the goal is what you want to strive to. I want to hit 10K this month in my business. The minimum, the standard is that through hell or high water number, I will collect 5K in my business. And so it just feels so much better when you can have a goal and a standard, because you cannot control what life is going to throw at you in a given day, in a given week, in a given month. And if you're always putting too much weight into your goals, you're going to continue to be upset when you don't hit them. However, consistency is everything. So if you can just have a standard and hit your standard and strive for your goals, that gives us a lot more wiggle room for positivity. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of prioritizing your health as a business owner is understand what your minimums are. So maybe there's 5 coaching calls that just got booked on my calendar. I was planning to go work out, to close my laptop at 5. That's not going to happen. No big deal. What is the minimum thing, the one thing I can do for my health today to move my health journey forward? So I'm not going to the gym. Instead, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to drink my water. That's my minimum for myself. It's free. You can literally do it while working. And I'm just going to hit 7K steps. And so, again, as entrepreneurs, as people who want to be on a health journey, we have these goals that we set for ourselves. And sometimes life does not allow us to meet those goals. So your minimum is the one thing that I can do today to still make progress, because some progress is better than no progress. And what I will leave you here with today is working smarter, not harder. So it's really funny that 2 women will go on a keto diet and one will see great results and the other one doesn't. It's because one is doing what she needs to do for her body type, and the other one is not. She's doing what the girl down the street is doing because diet culture made it very popular. So if you can understand your body type, now you can start eating and exercising for your body type and see way more results, not because you're dieting or doing quick fixes, but because you're literally doing what your specific body is going to respond to. And so I emailed Elona a quiz with my body type link so everyone can take it and get free nutrition and exercise recommendations for your body type. It's completely free. This is, if you never hear from me ever again, you will be set up for success.
Mm. I love your energy, Jayana. And I love that you said, besides obviously all the amazing health tips and how personalized this journey is for everyone and every woman or men, right? So I think that's very important to understand because we're just like brainwashed, commercialized in this area as well. So we need to just really, dig down and get the best information that really will help us and one baby step at a time, nothing wrong with that, right? I think just like anything, that is important as well. And I love that you said priority lists and not to-do lists, because I always talk about purposeful activities in our lives. And even if you got the two most important for the day, it's a successful day, because sometimes we beat ourselves up over the million things that keep us busy but not productive and moving forward in the right direction. So thank you so much for sharing that. Beautiful. I will be inviting, I have two more speakers left, I believe, for you guys. So Violetta Capusta. Violetta, thank you so much for coming on and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better as well.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Elona. I appreciate that. And thank you for all the shares, amazing shares. And definitely it resonates of the life journey. And what kind of led me to where I am right now is to realize that we are all the CEOs of our lives. And actually, that's the name of my community. The mission for it is become a woman of purpose-fueled life that you love. And there is definitely different areas in life that we get to touch upon, and not just business related, especially entrepreneurs. I've been there, done that, busy entrepreneur in productivity, actually spent quite a few years in real estate journey. So really involved in creating the relations and trust and helping with that important steps of finding the right home or transferring that home to a new people, and realizing that there's more into it than just a business relation. There's a lot of life relation and self relation. So like some of speakers today were mentioning about the intuition and not going against your guts, but going with your guts and really tuning more into a reconnection with self that can actually create that amazing reality for you and for others around you. And that will be in your relations with your loved ones, and business relations as well. It creates that connection that coming from more open and loving space, and things can work out in a much harmonious way than you can even imagine. And many times we are putting self-doubts in what we are doing, if we're doing the right things. And some tips that I want to offer here for the audience are to take the responsibility. The forgiveness is a big part, and love. So I want to touch a little bit more about the forgiveness. I've been there, done that, when it was very, very hard and very driven in my business, and not allowing myself that self-forgiveness. And when I heard about making some exercise and simple statements like, I'm ready to forgive myself for, and start listing that multiple times. And I start feeling the energy start shifting and releasing some guilt towards myself was so crucial to create that opening in my mind and in my heart to keep going on my journey and mission to keep transferring and creating that life of meaning that I absolutely love, and actually assisting others, especially women, in creating that experience as well. And it all starts with us. With been kind of touched upon of that internal dialogue and creating that connection, that being present is so crucial to create that experience. And when that negative self-talk is kind of turning on, having that forgiveness ready, and even writing that down to create more powerful experience with shifting that self-doubt and more believing yourself can actually create some amazing realities for you. So.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, being a CEO of your life, I always say, right? We start with that. So being aware and having awareness around those things that hold us back. I just so resonate with so many things that you said, Violetta. Important work in empowering other people to do it. Absolutely, for sure. Thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. Thank you so much for the message that you felt called to share with us today as well. All right, I'm going to my next speaker, Mark. I don't have your last name on the screen, so I would love for you to introduce yourself with your full name and share a little bit around the work that you do as well.
Mute me. Yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. It's Mark Rowley. Thank you very much, and it's lovely to hear everybody's stories here today. Thank you. So a little bit about myself. So I am dyslexic and a little bit of ADHD. So I've gone through life with a bit of adversity. But I broke my brain, I would say, in 2006. What I mean by that is I had a lack of coping mechanisms within the workplace. So I've been working in corporate organizations for near enough 30 years. And from that, I came back from that and learned everything about the mind, stress, anxiety. And now I go into businesses and I teach about positivity and about productivity. So productivity has a massive impact on the revenue, but also it's about empathetic leadership. It's about treating your customers with respect and just not as a cash cow. It's about having employee engagement that inspires and motivates your individuals and develops and enthuses them and brings them along for the journey. But I also teach mental resilience. So I'm a qualified counsellor as well. So I help people with stress, anxiety, and understand how the mind works, but also how stress can actually reduce productivity within organizations, for a simple fact that when we are in our fight or flight mode, cortisol is dropped from our minds, from our brains, and it actually can reduce our cognitive ability by 50% within 10 minutes. Now, this is why we get brain fog and why we have problems with understanding what's going on sometimes. And this is because we're at a hypersensitivity of alertness. So mental resilience within the workplace should not just be a two-hour workshop once a year. It's a continual journey that people need to go on. Now, life's going to throw things at you anyway. Life is like this, isn't it? You have good moments, you have bad moments, and we ride that wave. But it's mental resilience gives us that way to bounce back quicker. It means we can have a better quality of life. It means we can be more productive, but also we can give back to our communities more as well. So that's it's just one of those things. I go into those businesses, I explain about empathetic leadership that deals with humility. So making sure that all the leaders, managers, anybody that is there for employees are actually motivating employees, and they have emotional intelligence as something that is missing in a lot of organizations, that emotional intelligence to be able to deal with things without adding their emotion to that. So understanding that those communications between leaders and employees, I mean, leaders are there to facilitate the employees, to make sure the employees have everything they need to work. They're on blockers. So if their employees' paths are blocked from being productive, then they can actually remove that. So that's what leaders are there for. Obviously, they do have to deal with performance management. They have to deal with setting goals and setting visions. But most importantly is make sure that they understand each individual's needs. So it's from equity. So not equality, it's equity. So each individual is in a different stages in their lives and they have different needs. And if you understand that as a leader, you can motivate people and enthuse people differently. I've had situations where I've had individuals who are the only person living at home looking after their elderly mother, and they're just coming into work. They need to work, but they also need to be able to get back to take over from the carers. So not on top of that, I teach about getting rid of racism and sexism. I think it's absolutely ridiculous in today's businesses that we still see in that, and it's disgusting. And I think that's one of my passions, actually increasing mental resilience within businesses and providing equity across the board for everybody to succeed. So HIT leadership, HIT stands for honesty, integrity and transparency, and these are my personal goals and my business goals. So our strap line is we pack a honest punch. That's as corny as I can get today. So thank you for the opportunity to talk as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Such important topics you're covering. But the good news is that, because I do a lot of work in the business arena, and there's a lot of companies waking up, and just like you said, not just putting together a workshop once a year to help their team navigate these different the emotional part of the work, because even being executive leader, I always saw that big gap in the corporation I was working for. And every time I would speak to people about their performance, it was their personal stuff that held them back. So there's such a correlation. It would be crazy as a leader to shy away from that, but to not deal with that and get experts to help you in your company. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Beautiful, beautiful work that you're also doing. I'm so inspired. I mean, it's like every summit that I do, it's almost like I feed myself with amazing energy and information from all these amazing experts. And I will love to introduce our last but not least speaker for today. It will be Cath Grimmett. And Cath, welcome, and looking forward to hearing the message that you want to share with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so actually thrilled that I went at last as well, because everything that our amazing speakers have spoken about today kind of brings into what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm Cath Grimmett, and I'm a intuitive branding designer. So focusing on what Mindy and Dr. Richard said about listening to self and listening to that intuition and that gut feeling of what you were doing to build a business by being yourself. And how often do we should all over ourselves? We tell us that our business should look like this. We should be doing this to be successful. We're only successful when we hit something that other people are doing, and therefore we feel like we should be doing it as well. We should all over ourselves. And so what we often don't do is take that time to come back to self and come back to intuition, to be able to build a business and a brand to help others, to be of service to others, because after all, that's why we're doing it. But how often do we actually come back to, our vision and our values and the mission that we have on our hearts in order to build a brand that helps others in a way that also works for us? So talking today about, getting really clear on listening to that intuition side of, trusting your gut and trusting what you're telling yourself to do instead of shoulding all over yourself. So just a real quick sort of explanation for me. I've been a designer for nearly 16 years now, and I started off in the corporate world, as so many of us have. And when you first get into it, it's all shiny and new, and you're really excited about getting into the corporate world. And then as you move through life and start having your own journey and experience and you sort of, you're navigating the world, you're having a journey, you're sort of deciding what works for you and what doesn't. And by coming back to your values and making sure that what you are doing stays in alignment with who you are and what you want to stand for, whether that is in business or, in the rest of life, because business doesn't happen in isolation. It enables us to carry forward the joy and, making sure that what we are doing not only helps serve other people, but it also helps carry that joy forward. And so moving into building a brand by being yourself, how often do we actually stop shoulding all over ourselves and take that time to stop and pause and think, okay, so what is it that I actually want to stand for? These are my values for myself personally. These are my values for my business. And how am I going to uphold that through the whole thread of what I'm now trying to create? So if integrity is one of your core values, how are you implementing integrity throughout every part of your business? Now, it doesn't necessarily always relate back to your clients. It should relate to your clients, but it also relates to self and your team. So if integrity is one of your main values, how are you applying that through every part of your business in order to make sure that you are building a brand that is serving exactly what you want, including yourself? So what things do you need to put in place to be able to make sure that you can hold your head high and stay in love with the business that you are building by having those things in place to uphold those values? So that kind of comes back to what Mindy and Dr. Richard were saying, in that, trusting self, trusting intuition, trusting when it is time to let go of something, trusting, even though you've got those little mind gremlins coming in and saying, oh, I don't know if I should be doing that, but actually, coming back to self, coming back to heart, and really trusting what it is telling you in order to build that business. Because, it is so easy to default to what others are teaching us, as we were talking about, at the very beginning of the summit, is, how do we use what other people are teaching us as models and as resources and tools, rather than the things that we should be doing, and feeling like a failure when they don't apply to us. And this has been an ongoing thread through what we've been talking about today. So it means that, by using that intuition to move forward in every aspect of your business, you are pulling in, the health aspect, the stress reduction, the inclusivity, and everything to be able to move forward and build a brand really within integrity for yourself, for the team that you're building, and for your clients, because that's the way that we're going to stay in love with our business.
Yeah, thanks so much. I love the depth you brought to the conversation as far as branding, because most people think it's just a website and your graphic colors on Canva.
Absolutely. They do, and it is so much more.
Yes, I love the conversation. Well, thank you again to all our amazing speakers. Thank you so much, Cath, for everything that you shared as well. And I have one final question for everyone before we wrap up this amazing summit as well. What is the mission behind your work? If you can maybe recap that in one sentence, and also where is it that people can continue the conversation with you? So I will go back to my first amazing speaker, Dr. Cheryl.
Okay, thank you very much. If I may, please, one thing I do really want to leave with the audience is a mnemonic when it comes to wellness and recalibrating in general. So recalibrate is a mnemonic. R stands for recalibrate. What's your priorities? Why are you doing what you're doing? E, educate yourself on the above. C, celebrate what you've accomplished. A, assess holistically. L, liberate negative thinking. I, inquire and get ideas from others. B, believe in yourself. R, relinquish control of what you cannot. A, accept the fact that you are human. T, trust the process. And last but not least, E is enthusiasm. You be your own cheerleader when no one else is cheering you on. So I can be reached at a few emails. One is info@renata.care. And Renata refers to the whole Renata Wellness and Recreation Retreat. Just for the record, to tie up what everyone is saying, the word Renata actually means rebirth. So I ask you, what is that new rebirth you need to do in your personal or work life? Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful message. All right, Mindy.
Yeah, the mission behind my work, why am I doing this? Well, two reasons. One, I love it. It lights me up. And that's kind of what I'm all about, right? Is trusting your intuition and knowing what lights you up. And this lights me up, speaking and helping others. Secondly, I want to live in a world where everyone else is doing what lights them up too. When I go to the dentist, I want that dentist to be passionate about dentistry. That's the dentist that I want working on my teeth. I don't want to go somewhere and have my accountant doing my bills just because, or my taxes just because, well, it's paying my bills and I don't really like it, but I do it anyway. No, I want the person that is so immersed in those numbers they can't help but just dig into it, right? That's the world that I want to live in. I think everybody, if we all can tap into that, it's just going to be, angels and fairies and unicorns and rainbows all the time, right? I mean, if we all, isn't that what's going to happen? Probably, maybe not, but it'll be a better world anyway.
Beautiful. And where is it people can continue the conversation with you, Mindy?
Absolutely. If you just hop over to mindyduff.com, you can find all you need to find.
All right. There you go. Thanks so much. Jayana?
So this is a little sad, but I'll be quick. So the reason why I got into holistic health in the first place is because I lost my grandmother suddenly due to health issues. And so I took a look around at my life and said, I couldn't save my grandmom, but I can save my future generation of children. And then that led to wanting to save other people's moms, grandmoms, cousins, aunties. And so I'm extremely passionate about this work. Women really do need to put themselves first, guilt-free. And if you want to continue the conversation, where you can find me, this is backwards, but my name is like not common. So it's Jayana Francis everywhere.
All right. Ooh, there's the fire. I love that. Thank you so much, Jayana. Christine?
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you follow your passion, you never know where it can lead. Mine is running, and it helped launch my own TV show and then another show. So I love helping people, inspiring, and it's all about the guests because they're the experts who come on my show. I just, I'm a storyteller too because I'm a writer, but for me, running has saved me. It's something that I owe so much to. So again, in my talk, when I was talking about find that whatever it is, it can really help you, propel you to be more productive, or you never know where it's going to lead you, like me. And if you want to reach me, I'm at runwithit.ca. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Christine. Cath?
Hey, so mine is empowering others to be comfortable in their skin and show people their true selves, because we're always improving, we're always working towards being more and being better, but there's actually we're great as we are as well. And so to be able to help empower people to trust themselves more is really what lights me up, and I absolutely love it. So to get in contact with me is Grimm Designs with 2 M's .co.uk.
Okay, there we go. Dr. Richard?
Why do I do this? Since I retired, it's about being in service and serving entrepreneurs. Figured out how to grow businesses, and that's my joy these days, which is growing people, growing businesses. Get in touch with me, easy, talkaboutpublicity.com, or my email address is rkaye at Richard K, RICHARDKAYE.com. Thanks for playing.
All right. Thanks for serving. Love that. Mark?
Thank you again. So my mission is to help businesses create a healthy and safe environment for employees and customers to thrive and grow. So my passion comes from seeing people crippled with anxiety and stress. I want to remove that. I'm also a trustee of a homeless charity. I want to educate people that no one wants to be homeless. And the ignorance out there about why people are addicted is because you escapists. And so my passion is to remove anxiety and stress from people as much as possible, help men talk more, help women grow more, just help everybody be the best versions of themselves. That's my passion.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark. And you also shared where is it that people can connect with you, right?
Yes, I've put it in the private chat, but if you go to www.stressfreeproductivity or hitleadership.co.uk, and any of those, and all my contact details are on there.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Mark. And Violetta.
Thank you. Thank you again for this beautiful connection here. And what I want to share, the calling that I'm called to do is to help women reclaim their power and using their voices. And it's very crucial because it's been quite a journey for a lot of women, and also of my own women and a person and my family, and creating the legacy for my daughter as well, to show the next generation and show existing generation that they can lead as well, from power not force, and using their authentic voice to really creating this empowerment for others. So that's the mission and how you can reach me. I have a website, Violetta, it's my name with one T, capusta.net, and I'm offering some also free resources there. Some of the things that I had mentioned about the responsibility, forgiveness, and love. There's free resource that you can claim there as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. All our amazing speakers. I want to thank each and every one of you for your amazing wisdom and the time that you share with us in our events here at the Life School. And you'll find all the links for our amazing speakers wherever we are. Our brand presence is really everywhere. Wherever you are finding this summit, you'll get access to all the links for our speakers. And also, if you have a message to share and you are a purpose-driven person or CO, just go to elonalapari.com events, and you're more than welcome to join our summits and our events that we're always organizing. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you in one of our other upcoming events. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.